welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, so you have to look at my mug, whether you like it or not. And it's Friday, which means it is Sharpe Way Stew. Some people said, Larry, this is kind of like soup. It's not. It's meatier, which makes it stew. That's what it is. Guys, remember, if you care about what I'm doing, like, comment, share. It does matter. Let people know this is happening. And if you say, Larry, I love you so much, how can I give you money? You can. Just head on over to patreon.com/sharpeway. If you got tons of money, throw me $100 per month. I know some of you have done it already, and I appreciate that. Every bit counts to keep this going. But if you can't swing that, no worries. $10 a month, amazing. 25, awesome. But if you can't swing any of that, all good. Like, comment, share. That's free. That's the best part. It's free. You can also help me out one other way of doing something free. Head over to theadvocates.org. You hear me talk about them every single show. I'm not going to stop. They're a sponsor. So stop making me say this. Instead, go over there right now, take the test, and tell your friends and see how libertarian you are. Or if you happen to like CBD products, I hope you do. Head over to grownselection.com. Make a purchase if that's what you like. I hope you like those products. They're very good for things like anxiety that I know we're all feeling right now. You can go ahead and take care of that. Make a purchase and put in Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. I am very lucky today. I got a two-timer. Somebody who's been on my show more than once, and then there are very few of those, but I have one today. The man himself, comedian, man who does cool podcasts, serious talk and not serious talk, cool stuff and BS, all of that stuff. The man himself, the man who is conveniently Latino, his words, Lou Perez.
Thank you, Larry, for having me back a second time.
Yes.
Second time. Wow, man.
Absolutely.
Is there a ritual for that you put people through who've been on a second time? Do I have to get a tattoo of you on my back or something like that?
Yes, you're going to hear a knock on your door in about 90 minutes, and that's the guy. Just do what he says, and we'll be fine. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Yes. So for more information on Lou, please head over to thelouperez.locals.com. You know, Lou, you and I've known you, 4 or 5 years now, give or take, in that area? And yeah. I've seen you do a lot of interesting stuff. What I like most about the stuff that you do is it's real, but it's funny. That's the part I like. And I want to show something, which I guess now this is, kind of the right time, defending Donald Trump, right? You did something maybe 2 years ago, I'm guessing, give or take, talking about stop forcing me to defend Donald Trump when you weren't necessarily a Trump supporter either way, but you were defending him because of what the left was doing to him. So you did a joke. Let me show this, and you can tell me or talk about it and tell me why you decided to even do this damn thing. It's actually very funny, by the way.
China just approved for Xi to be president for life, and Trump says maybe we have to give that a shot someday.
Like, enough is enough. How do people ignore that?
I'm pretty sure he was joking.
Joking about being president for life.
Yeah. If you listen to the audio, everybody's laughing. They're clearly in on the joke.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you like Donald Trump?
No, I think there's a lot wrong with the guy. It's just this happens not to be one of those things.
I cannot believe I work with a Trump supporter.
What?
That I cannot tell you how much I love that, because I have felt that. Like, the second I give anybody any credit, I love that person. So I have to hate them or I have to love them, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah, and I think this idea came from an actor that I work with quite often, especially with We the Internet. His name was Gary Mahmood. Mm-hmm. And Gary was just talking about, being in these situations where, a conversation's happening and a factual error is put out, or, something is exaggerated. And he's the type of person who just feels the need to be like, oh, well, that's not actually true.
Right.
And it's a very tough position to be in, especially with somebody who's as, radioactive as Donald Trump.
He's got a big personality, man. It's easy to either love or hate him. He's got that big personality.
Yeah. And I think it's something too with him. And obviously this was, done a few years back, where, like all politicians, you usually don't have to make stuff up about them or exaggerate to have good reason to not like them.
Oh, yes. You can always find a reason to not like a politician without having to make anything. I completely agree.
Yeah. And I guess, when you're, more independent, when you're not, on, one side or the other, it can really be confusing for people. because because I think nowadays the the personal is political, and everybody's wrapped up in whatever party whatever party line they're going by.
Yep.
And when that becomes a thing, then it's like an all or nothing. It's like you're either all the way in on this person or you're not.
I say this all the time. We are more united by who we hate than what we support. Constantly, I see that. The people who get the most mad at me, it's not because of a policy stance or an issue that I take on. Some do, but that's not the most common. The most common is I won't hate the person they want me to hate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I won't hate that person. Why won't you hate Donald Trump? Why won't you hate Joe Biden? I don't hate either of them. I agree on certain things, disagree on others. I don't hate them, but no, I hear it all the time.
Yeah, and when you're trying to make change in the world, especially if you're trying to if you're one of those people who wants to make the world a better place, at some point you need something more than just being against something. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with people on the right, where it's like, oh, we're against the left, or we're against the woke people, or we're against we're against socialism. And it's like, okay, but what are you for? And what and what are you doing? What's your plan?
Well, here's the big issue with this one. Like she brings up right now. Hi from Texas, Larry and Lou. What an unprecedented election, huh? And I agree, because here's the problem, right? Most people know this. Biden has got now the most votes ever for any president. And who got the second most votes ever? Donald Trump.
Right.
So whether Trump wins this thing in the end or Biden, who knows? They might be deciding it while we're talking, right? But whoever wins this thing, there's still tens of millions of Americans who like the other guy.
Isn't it wild that there was so much fear about this being like the end of democracy, but yet by the numbers, this is the most democratic election. Like, this was an amazing time where you could basically just be sitting on your ass and be like, oh, I don't have to walk to the polls. I could just mail this out. All right,
exactly.
Great.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes, it's true. No, I mean, you can see we had about 160 million, or I forgot the number, but it's like 160 million people voted or something like that. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's the amount of people who voted in our country is more than the population of most countries.
Mm.
That's what's so amazing about this. I mean, that part's great. I agree. I hope we don't blow ourselves up in the process, though. But I want to do a couple more of these, because you went further on this. Let me do a couple more of these. I think it's fun the way you just kind of kept going, and it kept hurting you the whole way through.
Let's get out of here, Jenny.
Yeah, they have to leave you. Like, they can't even talk. Like, the second you defend somebody, they can't even talk.
Yeah. And you know what was a lot of fun about this is one of those videos where we had actually had it in the can for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we were about to release it, we were like, oh man, this feels real dated. Like, this doesn't feel that fresh. And we ended up reshooting a new scene and put it in, and then we put it out. And it was one of those things where it just blew up.
Yep.
It resonated with so many people. It resonated with people from all walks of life. So obviously it resonated with people who were fans of Donald Trump.
Sure.
But then it resonated with people who are independents, with
Yes.
people who libertarians who are like, yo, I can't stand this guy, but damn, like I'm the one who's opening my mouth to have to say, like,
Yep.
yo, you got this detail wrong.
Right.
And it also, resonates with people who are Democrats as well. And that's fun when you put something out that you're not expecting much of a response, but yet it taps into something that a lot of people are feeling.
Look, I live in New York City. There are a lot of Democrats here. And even when I talk Democrats, when I talk to many moderate Democrats, and those of you on the right don't know, there are moderate Democrats. So when I speak to moderate Democrats, many of them will actually give Trump credit here or there. They don't want to vote for him because they lean heavy left. So obviously they don't want to vote for him, but they don't hate him in that regard. They will give him credit where credit is due. But they'll also hammer him on things they don't like, of course, right? Absolutely. And how are we going to change or get better if we can't give credit where credit is due? AOC is my congressperson, and I did not vote for her and won't vote for her. And I'll still give the woman credit. She busted her rump for the seat the first time, not this time. This time she cruised. But the last time when she got her seat, she knocked on my door. I said all the time, I give her absolutely credit where credit is due, and we should start doing that more and more.
What was I've never had a politician knock on my door. What is that like? Is it like a Jehovah's Witness type thing? Or you like?
It is
oh, man, what's
exactly
gonna
like
happen?
that. It's her and one or two other people. They have paper, and it's just like Jehovah's Witnesses. Instead of saying, "Let me tell you about Jehovah or Jesus," hold on. No, let me give you the good word. No, what's the word? Well, hold on. They have a phrase they use.
I don't know. All I know is
The good news. Sorry,
good
that's
news.
it. Thank you. It's the good news. I'd forgotten. I hadn't had a Jehovah's Witness knock on my door in years. It's the good news. I'm sorry. The Jehovah's Witness will say, "Let me tell you the good news," or "Have you heard the good news?" That's what they will say. But they don't. They go, "Can I tell you about?" And then they say the person.
Their version of the good news. It's like
Correct.
we want to save you.
Yep.
But it's the state that's going to save you.
Well, because what could go wrong, Lou? What could go wrong? Nothing. All right, let me grab the next one here.
For Hillary.
Did you hear about this?
What did he do?
Donald Trump banned an entire religion.
Yeah, he did.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Muslim ban. So
Yep.
I guess Trump is banning all Muslims from coming here.
Yep.
And he's probably going to kick out the ones that are already here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not a ban against all Muslims. The travel ban is against 7 Muslim majority countries. Yeah, but unemployment's at 4.1%. Trump isn't shutting down Meals on Wheels. Only 3% of their budget comes from the federal program.
They just hate you.
No, Mom, I agree with what he said about Donald Trump. I just don't think it's appropriate to say it at Aretha Franklin's funeral.
Are you serious, Gary?
Oh, I don't agree with it. It's like, if you're so concerned about terrorism, then why isn't Saudi Arabia on the list too, right?
Why the are you defending Trump?
I'm not defending him. You guys are just misrepresenting him.
Love that.
Trump is not as bad as Hitler. Okay.
See, you should have kept quiet on that one, Lou. I'm just saying. That's the one that you probably should have kept quiet on, is all I'm saying. Yes.
Doctor had very large hands. Very,
Yeah.
very large.
There we go.
Oh, and it turns out, just to fact check to fact check my fictional character in the elevator, 2 of those countries were Venezuela and North Korea. So those are not Muslim majority countries.
There we
So
go. But it does go to something important, right? Which is you have people in general, and this is left and right. I know this is teasing the left, but it's the right too, without question, that when they hear something, they make massive assumptions and then take them as true, right? The Muslim ban. They heard Muslim ban. So that means all the Muslims are banned, right? Clearly that's not, but that's where it goes. And they just stay on it and keep it versus instead going, okay, what does that actually mean?
Yeah. And it puts us in this position too, where, if you keep kind of, shutting down the conversation, if you keep, sort of doing away with the nuance of it, right?
Right.
At some point, we're going to have these really important conversations.
At one point.
And who's going to be coming, out of this a winner? Well, it's going to be the most reactionary, loudest people who aren't, ready to compromise or to do anything. I don't know.
That's the hard part, right? When they always say in a mob, the leader is the one who yells the most, yells the loudest, right? Yells the loudest. Yes. So Joe says, "Can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior?" I don't think. Wait a minute. I don't think Jehovah's Witnesses do that one. I thought it was the good news, but I could be wrong, Joseph. I don't remember exactly. I haven't had a Jehovah's Witness knock on my door in probably over a decade. So.
I just love. I mean, the way Joseph looks in his thumbnail. Are you the Lord and Savior?
He might actually be our Lord.
Joseph's
and Savior.
basically like, look, I want to talk to you about me. Right? I'm coming,
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
knocking at the door. I'm going to save you, baby. Look at this. Look at that beard. Lush.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. So he might be thinking that. He might be thinking that completely. All right. Let me see if I can grab another one here. Well, someone that Wade thinks you're funny.
Whoa, thank you, Wade.
So that's good. He thinks you're funny. I'm happy about that. That's awesome. I like when that happens. So I want to go to another one you put in, and this one is kind of teasing the opposite. I'm sure people got mad at you for this one. This is the one when you're talking about how you got your sick dad to vote for Biden-Harris. So now everyone who was on the right who laughed, you're going to be mad at this one now. That's okay. We're being fair, right? We're being fair. But to be fair to everybody, it's all a joke anyway. All of these are just to be funny.
Yeah,
So
this one this is a parody of a video that I saw going around. I think it was a TikTok video of a young woman put out. Her father is unfortunately dying from a rare, I don't know if it's a rare disease, but he's dying. He only has maybe weeks or even months to live. And she went on and made this video about how she and her other sisters convinced or maybe coerced, depending on how you look at it, her dad, who was a Trump supporter, to come around to the good guys and vote for Biden Harris. And she put a video out, and this was my response to that.
All right. Never voted Democrat in his life. He's dying from a rare disease. I told him only conservatives can. Pretty mean. We've had some intense exchanges about him voting for Trump this year, which has been painful since he's dying. And I decided to use the limited time I have with him to argue with him about Donald Trump. Boy, what a good son you are. Yesterday, he was so excited to tell me he had just voted for Biden Harris 2020. Boy, smile on your face. Because maybe then, my son, will stop hiding my medication. What a mean person you are. I will now. See, he won. If my very Republican dad can die before Election Day, well, that's kind of cruel. Think of all the people I will convert when I give his eulogy. Wow, you're a bad son. Oh, we might not live in a swing state, but what is right in New York is right everywhere. Yes, it is, damn it. 100%.
The next time you run for office, Larry,
yeah,
what's right in New York is right everywhere. That's the new that's the new slogan.
I love that. Yes. Did I talk about localization? No. I want one state running everything.
You want the world.
I want the world doing whatever New York City says. I love that. Absolutely. But you must have gotten a lot of people angry with you about that one.
Oh,
or no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people, I got some guy. So I posted this on Twitter, right? And it did well on Twitter. It has I think over 40,000 views or something like that.
Nice.
This guy went to my website, thelouperez.com, and filled out the contact sheet to tell me that I'm evil and that I should be hanged.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got a legit. I don't. He wasn't, threatening to do it personally, but if down the road someone happens to hang me, this guy would be very, very happy with it because I'm so evil. And
you've made the big leagues, death threats.
Yeah,
not
man.
Too shabby, Lou. Not too shabby.
So the amount of people who thought this was legit was hilarious, and I thought maybe the giveaway was a rare disease that I told him only conservatives get, but it's one of those things where I think some people are just so batty, and the stuff that they put out there where it's like, whoa, maybe this is real. Maybe this is actually
well.
legit.
There's something else though, right? And I get it on my social media all the time. It's because we're so divided that each side has to be either perfect or evil. If you even make a comment about the side that person believes in, the assumption is you love the other side and you're part of the bad guys, right? Almost to your first video's point. I remember this is probably, 2-3 months ago, whatever it was. I just had the title of my show, Should Trump Have Been Removed? It was only the title of the show, and it was a question mark. I was actually talking about what would have happened in theory if Pence and how popular Pence was. It was a total political show. It wasn't anti-Trump at all. But it didn't matter. People were like, I'm unsubscribing. How dare you? I'm not even saying you should have been. I'm just saying let's talk about the politics of the Republican Party with or without Trump. And if Trump loses election, what I said will matter because there will be a Republican Party without Trump. If at the Trump at the head, I'm sorry, Trump will still be around, obviously. I mean, 60 or 70 million people voted for him, so he's still going to be around whether he loses or wins the election. But that was a conversation, right? What would the Republicans do if Trump was removed? How would they react? And oh my God, it was like I had just, threatened to kill the president or something. It was terrible. Yeah. So I think you doing that person was so triggered because there can be no dissent.
Oh yeah, yeah, and also, I mean, man, to go through the trouble of, I mean, it's one thing like, look, if you see something you don't like it, you're like, all right, screw this guy, whatever. But to go to the trouble of like, I'm gonna click on this guy's website, and then I'm gonna scroll down to the contact section, and then I'm gonna write out my little screed, and then send it off to him. Like, that takes a little bit of work.
It does.
I definitely, I'm on that guy's mind. Like I mean, I hope, when the next time, like he's trying to make love to his wife or something like that, that my face pops up and he just gets, and he just gets triggered and isn't able to perform. Like there's me with index cards, like saying like, you're going soft or something like that.
But the opposite might happen. Just saying, Lou. He might be really all about it now.
He might be like, I'm waiting for the next email to come where he's like, Lou, I really need you. You're my Viagra.
Exactly.
You get my blood going, my blood boiling, and I need you.
Absolutely.
Rufo for Congress. Thank you so much, man.
There we go. Yes, he likes you. You got some fans tonight. See that? You got some fans. I love it. I want to pick up another piece though. This is a part where you talk about you're joking, but I get what you're saying. You're asking to bring back the term, control the term libtard. You want it for libertarians, like you're doing that, right? But I guess it's because we get insulted so much, right? I mean, that's really the issue. Let me pop this one up real fast.
The videos that we put out, and people are like, oh, this is just right-wing propaganda. And it's like, well, I didn't really consider right-wing propaganda. I thought it was me taking an idea and developing it and trying to do something with it. And then other times they're like, we'll be called, you libtards, which is, do you guys have libtards here?
I'm a libtard.
Are you a libtard?
Yeah.
You're really not. But yeah.
I want to take that back for libertarians.
Yeah.
Like I want libtard to be the libertarian thing. It's not working out well in the US, but it's funny. It's like, depending on which, if you have a weird nuanced view of the world, I think people are so used to everybody sort of being in a box where if you believe this, you must believe this, this, and this.
This is exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm having deja vu. That was from my buddies Konstantin Kisin and Francis Foster. They have a podcast called Trigonometry out in London, and I got to be on that. But yeah, there is something there. But it's been my experience where you put videos out, like for example, the "Stop Making Me Defend Trump" video got a lot of hate from people on the left. Then I made this other video about the problem with "what about" arguments.
Yep.
And that one I was making fun of people on the right, and people on the right were like, "Oh, you libtard, commie." Scumbag. Yep. And as we're being libertarians, we are a minority in this country. Yep. And I think it's really important where when you are a minority, you're always looking for opportunities to talk with the majority, and try to get your ideas out there.
Absolutely.
And I think a part of that is having some humility and also being self-deprecating when necessary. And I think I would love if libertarians were called libtards. Like, yeah, we embrace it, man. I love liberty so much I need to wear a helmet. That's what I'm saying.
Wear a helmet. I'm not sure I want to go that far, but I get your point. You get my point. Once we start putting on helmets, I'm not sure I want to go to that. I think I've gone too far at that point.
I'm on that short freedom bus. You know what I'm saying?
Do you self-identify as libertarian?
Yeah. I always say small L libertarian, but it's a weird thing too. Being a libertarian, because then you have this element of conservatarian. Right.
Sure.
Where I'm I'm married to my wife, and we have a baby. And I think it's really important for a mom and dad to raise their baby.
Hold on. Adam just has hashtag libtardlife, so I think it's working.
Hell yeah, Adam.
I think it's working.
On.
So please, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No. Please tag me on Twitter with that too.
There we go.
But so even just like the idea of we're a family, we're raising our kid. Somehow, at some point, that became like a conservative value, and I'm like, isn't that shouldn't that be a universal value? So
I agree.
I find a lot of values or virtues have been relegated to one side of the political sphere and of the spectrum, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Right.
So I guess it depends on the day and the topic, and anyone who's a libertarian knows like you can never, there are no real libertarians apparently anyway. So
there's only one, and he lives in Texas. I'm just saying, it's just one. There's one, and he lives in Texas. Just saying. So I got to ask the question. There's a question came up. Do you think that pineapple belongs on pizza?
Absolutely not. But
thank you. Thank you. Yes, see, Joe, take that, Joe. Take that in your face. Thank you. Yes.
You could put it on, but you don't expect to get any love from us.
None. No.
And at what point does putting pineapple on pizza just become trolling? Like who are you winning? Like who are you beating on this, man? Like you're putting that concoction in your mouth. You're like, oh, I'm showing them. It's like, no, man, you haven't shown us anything.
I've said I am a total libertarian with one exception, and that is pineapple on pizza. When someone does that, you lose all your rights immediately. You just lose all your rights. Go away immediately. You have no rights. The second you put pineapple on pizza, you've lost your property. You can be arrested. You have no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion, nothing.
If you're like pineapple on pizza should be served in one of those like brown paper bags, nondescript, like the old the way like pornography used to have to be passed around.
So no one would know.
In the Comstock days, when it was birth control and pornography and pineapple on pizza. That's how we should treat it.
Yes, Joe, I am triggering you, but you trigger me too, so it's fair. We go back and forth in this one. Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So, but look, here's what I want to do, if you don't mind. I want to take you quickly through the world's smallest political quiz. Okay. Is that all right?
All right.
Just quickly through it. You can answer the question any way you like. I don't mind, but let's go through it if you don't mind. And then you guys can do this too. You head over as I talk about all the time. You take the quiz, and it's grossly simple. All right. You got to answer either agree or maybe or disagree.
Okay.
Government should not censor speech, press, media, or the internet.
I agree. They should not do that.
But what about like pornography and mean stuff and stuff like that?
Larry, look, there's no telling where my career is going to be a few months from now. I need pornography to be on the table.
Valid point. Agree it is. Okay, gotcha. Military service should be voluntary. There should be no draft. Is that agree, maybe, or disagree?
I agree. And I know you're former military.
I am.
I've been a civilian my whole life. You guys don't want me on the front line.
But there is a serious argument, though, a real argument. And the argument, there's two of them. One of them is if there was a draft, then the rich kids would have to fight the war and we'd have less war. And then that would help to stop the constant wars.
Well, I remember hearing that as an example.
I remember that.
But there was a draft during Vietnam, and that went on for quite a while, right? I mean,
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to agree. Okay.
Yeah.
There should be no laws regarding sex between consenting adults. We just covered that. You're about to be a porn star, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So that's got to be agree.
Consent is very important.
Gotcha. All right. So we got wet with that. Repeal laws prohibiting adult possession and use of drugs.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is all agree. Look at this. You are rocking and rolling. All right. Government should not target, detain, and deport undocumented workers.
Ooh. Well, this might get me in trouble with our libertarian friends. I'm gonna have to go with
there's agree, maybe, disagree.
Disagree. Deport undocumented workers, should not target, detain. Well, they would need to be targeted, right?
Yep.
You need to detain them. How do you say "am I being detained" in Spanish? Because that's something that libertarians definitely need.
We'd have to learn that one, obviously.
Right.
Yes, of course. Yep, I got you.
And deport undocumented workers. Man, I mean, I would want them to have some kind of due process, right? I don't. So
does that mean maybe I'm guessing it's not agree? Is that maybe or disagree?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to go the maybe route.
Actually, I did too. I'm actually with you on this one. I actually went maybe. People are surprised that I didn't go all left. I actually went maybe in this one too. I'm with you on it. I am. All right. So now economic issues.
Oh boy.
There's only 10. It's 5 more. We're done. Very simple. Very simple.
Okay.
Taxpayers should not be responsible for student loan debt.
I agree.
Okay. Government should not be responsible for providing health care.
Government should not be responsible for providing health care.
Agree, maybe, or disagree?
You know, I'm going to agree on that. I wish that there was more of a free market, and that. Well, I guess if there's government workers, you would probably want some sort of. I don't know. I'm going to go with agree. Yeah.
Okay. You can go maybe if you want, but agree's fine.
Yeah.
Let people control their own retirement. Privatize Social Security.
Sure, I agree with that.
Oh, wow. Why do I agree? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Replace government welfare with private charity.
I agree. I agree with that.
You are a harder core libertarian than I am. I actually went maybe on that one. I did, because I was worried that we're not ready to go there yet. But it's fine. I like it. You're more hardcore than me. I love it.
Well, with that caveat, I hear what you're saying. With that caveat, I think there is something to the providing. I'm not going to change it, but I think it deserves more of a conversation, because for so many of our things, we think our deeply held beliefs, we need to take into account what's our end goal and where are we now.
And where are we now? That's my point. Where are we now?
Because the reality is when we're talking about welfare now, look, there are a lot of people who are elderly who are currently in the system and being taken care of.
Over 60 million Americans getting a check from the government right now.
Yeah,
over 60 million, and that was before COVID happened.
Yeah, so I think that there's a way to address these concerns without being sort of unfeeling about it.
Well, Ray's right. There's always a transition. I'm with you, Ray.
Look at that
transition.
And Wade's playing that sweet bass in his.
He is, because Wade's cool. He's
rocking out.
Yeah. Last one. Cut taxes and government spending by 50% or more.
Oh, sure.
That was easy. Done.
Yeah, I think that was an easy one.
Bonus the last one is bonus optional, right? You don't have to say it, but do you know what reflects your views best? Libertarian, progressive, moderate, conservative, authoritarian, unsure.
It would be wild if I wasn't authoritarian. I'm probably going to say libertarian on that.
Done. Then we calculate results, and surprising. Hold on. You're a libertarian.
Look at that.
Look at what you laid. There we go. I love it. So amazing. Guys, you should all take this test. Don't just make him do it. You should take it too. You're not surprised.
Here I am talking about nuance and all that, and it's like, oh, this guy's just like a typical libertarian.
Actually, you're not. You weren't 100.
Oh, okay. All right.
You weren't. You were 90-100.
All right.
And that's my point. Believe it or not, the data behind this, for those you don't know, the actual data behind this, only about a third of people who take this actually come up libertarian. A lot of people obviously watch this show because this is a very libertarian-leaning show. So a lot of people on this show, they will actually come up libertarian. But the average American who takes this, about a third come up libertarian, which is still way higher than we get with votes, right?
Yeah.
We get 2% in the election, but about a third of Americans under their own, doing themselves, come up libertarian. But, others come up, progressive, conservatives, moderates pop up. They all do. But about a third come up libertarian. So thank you for taking that. I appreciate that, Lou.
Well, thank you. I hope I haven't ruined my career.
You have. It's over.
People are like,
okay.
They're making a list.
Your career.
They're making lists now on Twitter. I saw a bunch like, you will be remembered for where you stood.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, I've seen that. By the way, if anyone wants to take that, head over to theadvocates.org. Feel free to take that test if you want to. And please, if you do it, please share it with others. It's important. Share it. Let your friends see it. See if they are close to that or not. No, this is what's going to get you finished. what you wrote on Spiked, that's going to end your career. I'm going to show that right now. You actually wrote a piece that said, no, the Proud Boys are not white supremacists. I mean, that's rolling the dice, brother.
How dare I?
That's come on, that's rolling. They were talking about them on debates and stuff. Just called them the poor boys, but that's all right. They called them the poor boys.
I think that was what at the latest debate, right? That
yes.
Came up. I didn't get to watch that one, but we actually got to watch one of the first debate with each other over on Chrissy Mayer's.
Yes, that's right.
Podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. Well, first off, Kendra thinks you're now finished. Your only option is not born. So that's it. But I want to ask you, why did you write that? That's risque. That is.
The reason why I wrote it was I know a little bit about the Proud Boys. And one of the things that I know about the Proud Boys is that they are multicultural, if you will. There are Black Proud Boys, there are Latino Proud Boys, Asians, there are gay Proud Boys, and all that, right? So when I see them being, continuously being portrayed as white supremacists, I'm thinking like, well, wait a minute, how do people have this all wrong? Especially the people.
Yeah, but why would someone? All right, if Proud Boys are Black and Hispanic and Asian, why would we think? I mean, like what any exaggeration of anything that you would use is always based on some grain of something that was true. Then they blow it up. So if that's the case, what's the thing that made people believe that?
I wonder if the thing that makes people believe that is that they I think for the most part are supporters of Donald Trump.
Shelley says the Proud Boys ain't white.
The Proud Boys ain't white. She says. Yeah. I can't really get into the psychology of why people, could look at a group of brown and, Black Proud Boys wearing, wearing the shirts and all that and the MAGA hats and be like, oh, you guys are white supremacists. But for me, what I found was just pointing that out, like, hey, you know what? You don't have to like these guys. You can think that they're assholes, right? But you don't have to make stuff up about them to not like them. You could not like them for what they actually are. In a way, it sort of goes back to the, stop making me defend Donald Trump video, where it's, there's plenty to be upset with him about, on the merits of what he's actually doing.
Yeah. And Paul doesn't want to associate with them anyway.
Huh?
Paul's like, yeah, they may not be, but I don't like them anyway. That's fine.
Fine. There you go, Paul. No, right on. And what I found was when I was putting out, just these little posts on Facebook, I had a bunch of Facebook friends fighting me on it, right? And for me, it really, kind of stuck in my craw because I was just saying like, look, if I can't get you to admit this fact, this small detail that they are not white supremacists, how the hell am I supposed to have a conversation with you about more pressing stuff? Because if I can't get you to to do this, so yeah, for me it was just sort of like it's kind of like a microcosm of sort of where we are right now, where it's like, how are we going to talk to each other if you get a detail wrong and you can't admit, oh yeah, you know what, I messed up on that. Right. My bad, but let's continue the conversation. So
I had that happen to me often in a different way. By the way, Susan, she says, the belief that Proud Boys are white supremacists comes from that proud proclamation that Western values are the best values.
Right. The idea of they're Western chauvinists, right?
There we go.
I think even there you have room for a conversation, right? Because you could be like, well, what does Western chauvinism mean? Because I think a lot of people associate with Western values like the Enlightenment, democracy, liberalism, and that sort of thing. But we also have to be honest and say that what also came out of the West. Right. Fascism came out of the West.
Sure.
Socialism, communism, these are all Western creations. So, but there's a conversation to be had there rather than just saying, oh, Western values equals, white supremacy.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I have something interesting. Tammy actually said she took the test and she came up on moderate.
Ooh.
But Tammy, it's okay. I will get you there eventually. Just keep watching. eventually.
Are moderates allowed to go door to door, knocking on doors and spreading the moderate news? You know, it's like it's an okay news. You want to
it's
hear
not
the
really
okay
good.
news? Yeah, it's okay.
Have you heard the moderate news? I got to tell you, and if you have it, who cares? It's moderate, so it's fine. So I was just bored, so I knocked on doors. So no, I like what that where you were saying because I get the same thing in a different way, and that is the second I say one thing wrong, some people get mad at me, and then there's no more conversation. Right? So I had it today. And I get it at least once a week. I get it. My team, it drives them crazy. Most people don't realize is about half of the time, maybe a little bit depends on how busy I am. Of the time that I respond online, it's not actually me. It's one of my team who's responding in my name. So it's not always me who responds. About half the time, it's me now. Now probably more than half because I have more time now because my governor has decided that I'm non-essential, so I have more time. I don't work as much. So I actually I'm online as myself more often than I used to be, but my team will go crazy. They're like, Larry, why does he feel so mad at you? And they'll get mad at me for one thing and go, I used to love Larry, but he said this one thing. Now I hate him. It's not, I disagree with him on this, and him and I, to your point, should have a conversation, or maybe I still like him, but he's just wrong here. It's, he said the one thing I don't like. Now I hate him. And I get that all the time. That idea of one bad thing and it's over.
You know, I'd be interested to poll people and to find out if people like somebody who never admits when they're wrong, or somebody who admits when they're wrong and tries to, fix that. Because it seems like people have, I think some people look at admitting that you're wrong as a sign of weakness, as opposed to a sign of strength. Like, no, I was wrong and I want to better myself.
Yes.
And one of the things that I've done, especially online when I can do it, is if I got something wrong or I read something incorrectly, I admit it. And rather than deleting my previous comment, I want people to read, hey, this is where I got it wrong. Yes. And then this is me making amends for it. And I think a lot of it, one of the issues with social media, because you're, Facebook and the like, is, you're dealing with text. So it depends on how the person reads it on the other, on the other end of it. And I had a situation where I'd been posting stuff on Facebook, and somebody who I hadn't seen in a long time started commenting.
Sure. And
I started seeing the comments he was leaving as sort of these digs, like he's trying to get me. And I actually I responded by wanting to say, like, hey man, I know you're trying to get me, but you haven't done it yet, right? No, so I was in a spot where I was like feeling attacked, a little bit of paranoia and on that. And then he set me straight and said, hey man, I'm not trying to get you. Like, we go back a long way. I just disagree with you.
Right.
To which I said, oh, wow, I needed that person to put me in check and be like, wow, that's where he's coming from. I'm sorry, man. I didn't, my bad. I messed up.
If you ever see me online and I made something wrong, I don't pull things down. I edit it. And I literally put edit. So you can see the first thing I wrote. Right? You can see the first thing I wrote. And then I put edit. I shouldn't have done that. This was a mistake. I meant this. This is what, if it came across this way, I'm wrong. I meant it to come across that way. But I'm with you. I leave the original. So people go, oh, he said that. Yeah, that was dumb, Larry. Oh, you edited it. Fine. You edited it. It's fine. Right. So I do that. I'm with you. I think it's the other reason why is I don't want people to think that I'm hiding something, because when you're hiding, it's worse. Yeah. It's just totally worse. Yeah. So,
and I wonder too, I happen to be in I've been married to my wife, and we're going on 3 years, and anybody who's in a relationship, especially one that is working, knows you're going to have to admit when you're wrong. Like, you're going to be saying sorry. The whole, what was that movie, Love Story? It's like,
love is never having to say you're sorry.
Never even say. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't know who wrote that garbage. You gotta say you're sorry all the time, man.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yes, absolutely.
So it's one of those things where I don't feel like I lose something by admitting, hey, I screwed up, my bad. If anything, I'm hoping that other people will be like, oh, that takes some integrity there.
I love that. All right. So I want to ask you a question. You have a baby now.
Yeah.
Right. So you ever get totally crazy stressed out, like there's no tomorrow, and maybe want to try, I don't know, like a CBD product sometimes?
You know, that sounds great to me, because I realize the source of dad strength.
Yep.
Is having your muscles under stress 24/7.
There
right?
we go.
Because I'm just yeah, and then ready to go.
I love that. So listen to this guy. He's really smart. Hey, it's Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way Show. Want to talk to you for a couple of seconds only about CBD products. Look, if you think that they should be part of your health regimen, or they already are, you're dealing with maybe pain or anxiety or some other issue, head on over to grownselection.com. Check them out. They're a libertarian-owned company. They understand that you own your body and should treat yourself the way you think you should be treated. Of course they do. You do too, and so do I. So head over there, check them out, look at their CBD products. If you think they fit your health regimen, put in Sharpe Way 20 and get 20% off your order. Look, I want you to support the Liberty Movement, libertarian-owned businesses, and the show. They're a sponsor. If CBD is or should be part of your health regimen, grownselection.com. Check them out. Purchase Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. Support the show. Support the movement. grownselection.com. That guy's super smart. You have actually made somebody upset now. Shelly's like, now I have the annoying love stories theme song stuck in my head.
No. Well, I'm gonna put another one in your head. St. Elmo's Fire. I watched that piece of crap a few weeks back with my wife. But part of the COVID thing is like, you're trapped inside. You have Amazon, you have Netflix. Let's watch movies from 1985 and try to figure out how the hell this movie was a hit. So some good awful fun, and Rob Lowe pretending to play a saxophone.
Well, speaking about music, I thought you might enjoy this. Have you ever seen the YouTube page WTF Bra?
No, I have not.
They actually do a bunch of very fun, cool videos. But a lot of them are political, but they're fun. I'm gonna show you one and see if you like it. This is a parody on Joe Biden. It's a Joe Biden parody.
I learned a lot, and I learned a lot. Anyway, Bo is associated here. Anyway, the point I want to make is I learned so much. I learned black, white, all colors, all backgrounds. But I mean, come on, man. Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot. Come on, man. You know the thing. You know what I mean? You know the thing. You know what I mean?
You know the thing.
What I have to do is I have to continue talking about the things. Come on, man. I came down here because I remember the first bumper sticker I saw.
The funny thing is, they took his crazy stuff and they threw this into a song, which I love. They did a "Come On Man," "You Know the Thing." They did all these things, and now he went. I don't know if you saw this one, but he went on some tangent when he was in front of was it? I forgot some family, I think, who was killed, I think. And he went on a tangent about how he was in a pool and blah blah blah. They even used that. It's amazing. Have you never heard these guys before?
I never heard it, but I think it's awesome that Joe Biden looks like a character from Ocean's 11, especially with the glasses on. Like, he's like the guy. He looks like kind of like the cool version of like the Carl Reiner character.
Oh yes, right. He's the guy who's financing the whole thing.
Yeah,
right. Oh, something like that. Yes, he's that guy. But no, he's trying to be cool, right? The thing that's funny is, and I take this because it's people who, when they think they're talking to an urban audience, they all of a sudden change their accent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he does that. And the funny part is, I try not to ever change my accent. I try to be who I am always, which can be weird because when I go upstate, sometimes I'm talking to farmers who don't talk as fast as I do. But I don't want to all of a sudden, I don't know, put a straw in my mouth and go, "Howdy, partner," or something, right? Because that's not who I am. It's a blatant lie. I'd rather just be who I am.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing, but I think I remember. I distinctly remember around 12 years back being on vacation and meeting a bunch of people from Tennessee, and I started putting on a little. Was it a twang? Is that what they speak with down there?
Yes.
And yeah, it was just like out of nowhere. I'm just saying, y'all. Like, why? Why are you doing that?
I love that. So yeah, he says Biden loves minors. Hold on, they keep going. Let me. They do the minor thing too.
Learned that I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. And I learned about kids jumping on my lap. I love kids jumping on my lap. Oh, I'm in trouble. What are we nuts? Dead. You know, come on, man.
There he is, the sniffer.
Get a life. Taking cocaine or not? What do you think? Come on, man. Black, white,
there he
colors,
is.
all backgrounds.
That's my favorite right there.
Come on, man. Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot. You know, come on, man. You know the thing. You know what I mean? You know the thing. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Come on, man.
That's the funnest thing. He said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Now, I didn't vote for him, so I guess I'm not black anymore.
You got that black card revoked.
It's gone. I lost it. Now the funny part is I can't come up with who I guess I get to pick. My worry is, see, if Trump would have won, then I guess I get to pick who I am. But now Biden won. Does Biden decide what I am now? I mean, if I can pick, I'm going to pick Filipino. I love Filipinos. I'm picking Filipino. If I get to pick who I am now, I'm not black anymore. I'm going to go Filipino. Unless Biden tells me what I am.
One thing I always tell all my friends who have had their black cards revoked.
Right.
I say, don't worry, the world will still treat you like you're black. Don't worry about that.
That's true. Okay. So I think I'm good either way then.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're gonna get the treatment. So
yeah, I mean, I guess I could be transracial and just be
Larry, what do you make of I was seeing numbers coming in. They're saying that more black people voted for Donald Trump this time around, more Latinos in particular. A great comedian, Jeremy McClellan, pointed out that Donald Trump won the Latino vote and Joe Biden won the Latinx vote. So
that's funny. That's good. Yes.
But yeah, what do you make of that? For one, I find it just so condescending, the idea of just putting people into these these monolithic groups. The idea that because your skin color might be a similar shade, that'll tell us all we need to know.
I have to vote for Biden now.
Right. Yeah.
I've lost my black card since I didn't vote for Biden. So I guess I lost my black card. But no, there's several things that bother me here when it comes to this. One of them is, by the way, Kendra, let's know, breaking news, I'm not black anymore. It's true. It's true. I hope I get to pick, though, Kendra. I really want Filipino. So I hope I get to pick. I don't know what the rules are. That's the only problem.
Does Don Lemon come and just do a little incantation or something like that? And then
I think that's what happens. Yeah. We have to get in line and then Don Lemon takes all our blackness away. That's what happens. So yeah, I think that's how it works. But in any case, there's several things that bother me. One of them is the idea, if I watch CNN and Fox, I know I accept your condolences. But in any case, I do watch both because that's the mainstream news and I want to know what's happening in the mainstream news. I do shows like this. I talk to people all the time. I need to know mainstream news. And in the beginning of this election, when it looked like Biden wasn't doing well, Van Jones was on CNN and his response, I'm not joking, was, well, you know what we've done wrong. It's embarrassing. We feel terrible. We haven't done enough to get the black vote and the minority vote. And I thought to myself, that's your takeaway. Your takeaway isn't that you've alienated so many white voters. That's not your take. And I would ask anyone who's hardcore left or hardcore right, if you're watching, listening, if you're either, each side has said such horrible things about the other, right? The left has painted Donald Trump as an evil, fascist, racist Nazi, and the right has painted Joe Biden as a horrible socialist pedophile. That's how they painted each other. And with that much painting of each other, neither one can dominate.
Mm-hmm.
We're still about 50-50, right? I mean, I don't know whether Biden, looks like Biden's going to win, but whoever wins, Trump might come back in Pennsylvania. Last I saw, he was mounting a comeback in either Arizona or Pennsylvania. I forgot which one. But whatever, whoever wins, it's not going to be an 80-20 victory or a 75-25 victory. It's going to be like a 51-49 victory. What is going on here, right? So we're not doing a good job of doing anything except yelling at the other, and that's not even working. And then the answer is, oh my God, if we don't win, it's because we didn't get the minority vote. No, I don't think that's true at all. I think Republican rhetoric has been bad when it comes to making people who have any minority, gender, sex, race, whatever at the background, it's not been good rhetoric, right? And people talk all the time to, well, look at the actual data on what's happened. And the data is actually pretty good. Trump has some good data points. That's true. I'm not saying the data is wrong. I'm saying the rhetoric is bad. The rhetoric is not good rhetoric. It doesn't feel good, and politics is emotional. And the left does the opposite. The left, in trying to feel good to minorities, and it does, their rhetoric is better towards minorities. It does feel better, but it's negative towards everyone who's not, right? How do you feel if you're a Democrat, listen to Democrat rhetoric, if you're a typical white straight male? You don't feel any love at all.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of it too, so much of the divide also comes down to, quote unquote, college educated, that sort of thing. Because it's funny, I like to think of myself as sort of living outside of a bubble, if you will,
right.
Like where, I know what's going on. I know what's going on with all different people.
Everybody
right?
else is stupid, Lou, not
yeah,
you.
Man. Everyone else is stupid. They have no idea what's going on
Exactly.
Twitter, right? Yep. So I have these conversations with people who aren't living online, who aren't on Twitter, who don't know about, critical race theory, sure. who don't know things like that. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is this? This isn't real stuff to me. Yeah. And, I wonder how many of these, how many people are sort of blinded by their own elite, being an elite, if you will. And I hate using that word, but it's sort of like you're so, you have blinders on and not seeing what resonates with other people, because it's one thing to say, oh, we need to do, something better to get more minorities to vote, to get more Black people to vote. But what is it that in your mind that these minorities or Black people in particular want? Like what do they want? Like, let's talk about some real things that can be done to make life better for people. And I think one of those things, I think we may have talked about this the first time I was on here, but like something as simple as getting rid of occupational licensing.
Yes.
Especially for jobs where you don't need occupational licenses to work. That would have a profound effect on people, on all people, in particular people that are at the bottom rung looking to bring themselves up.
Let me cover two separate pieces, which two people obviously support different sides of this. Tammy says Trump has a superior mind. He just needs to shut up. Tammy, there's some validity to that, right? If you ask most Republicans that I know who support Trump, they will all say the same thing. I wish he'd get off Twitter. Every one of them that I know here in the New York Republicans are not hardcore Republicans. New York City Republicans, sorry. New York Republicans are. New York City Republicans tend to be much more moderate Republicans. And even though many of them do support Trump, they hate his Twitter. They do not. You're so right. They do not. They're like, just stop talking. Get off Twitter. Absolutely. At the same time, Paul says the rhetoric makes them feel good, but doesn't mean anything since they don't act on it. I agree with you, Paul. The Democrats have better rhetoric, but their actual actions, they haven't helped the minority community at all, particularly in the last 40 years. They haven't helped them at all. But the rhetoric is nice. It does feel good. That's true. And I think that's my point. It's better sounding rhetoric. And there is emotion involved in that without question, 100%. So there's a question for you, though. Did you graduate college, in quotes? I don't know why, Susan, why you did the quotes, but whatever. Did you graduate college?
I spell it differently. I spell it with an A, collage. That's how I pronounce it. I graduated collage. Yeah, I went to college. I graduated from New York University in the class of '04, and I even went to graduate school to get a Master of Fine Arts in creative writing at City College.
Elitist.
Yeah, big time elitist. You know, but one thing I could say is, you know, I think fortunately for me, and I'm sure there was a time where I was a lot more, you know, like snooty because thinking that I knew everything. My dad didn't even graduate high school, you know, but he, you know, came to this country, worked really hard, is a successful businessman and all that. So I think part of my education is also having, you know, coming from a working class background. My father was a butcher. My mother graduated high school, but she also went to beauty school. She was a beautician. So I didn't come from a family where my parents had gone to college. So there was still that element there of, oh wait, I know what quote unquote real people are like.
Sure.
And also when you're in business, especially something like, you know, being a butcher, you're dealing with all different kinds of people. You're dealing with people who, you know, were on food stamps. You're dealing with people who, you know, are wealthy, living, who live in the high rises and stuff like that. And I think it's so important to surround yourself with people, or at least be able to dip in and dip out with people who are just different from you. You know.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I actually, and if one bit of advice that I put out there is, you know, if you're the best way to step out of your bubble is to try to interact with people who are good at something.
I like that.
Because it's so easy to find someone who's like-minded. It's much more rare to find someone with talent. And so
I like that.
Whether it's going to, you know, you're going to go to the bakery that makes the best bread. You know, I love that bakery. I don't care what they think about X, Y, or Z. This is why I'm coming here, because they have excellence in what they're doing here, and all different walks of life. I think that, you know, that's a truism right there.
Lou, do you have a podcast? Please link if you do.
I do. It's called the Lou Perez Podcast. Very original name.
Yes, but who? You know what's crazy? You're very lucky. That's your name.
Right.
That you happen to have a podcast with your name on it. That's luck. Look at you.
I was almost going to call it the Perez Way, but you know, I didn't want to step on my brother's toes. So.
I know we could have done like back-to-back shows or something. I love it.
So the Lou Perez Podcast, it's available on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, everywhere. So
nice. There we go. Absolutely. So anything you want to bring up before we wrap this up?
So for those of you who, you know, might know me from We the Internet TV, I made an announcement that I will no longer be with We the Internet. I'm going to be moving on to do more independent stuff, and I hope you'll join me. And if you can check me out on locals.com, thelouperez.locals.com. It's a great way to be able to support me, and it's a little community there where we can have conversations like this without worrying about perhaps going to Facebook jail or getting your account suspended on Twitter. So it's a really fun forum where we can get to know each other. So come on over there.
I love that. By the way, Jody says it should be the Perez Day.
Ooh, I like that.
See that? You've already got help here already. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Lou, thank you for coming on. Short notice too. You hooked me up. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right,
Always
guys.
a pleasure.
Have a good one. I will talk to you all soon. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we can relax and chill. I will see you all